If you wake up at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, feeling a wave of anxiety because you can't fall back asleep, I have some news for you. You don't have insomnia. Your body isn't malfunctioning. In fact, it's doing exactly what it was engineered to do over 300,000 years of human evolution. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to flip a switch. Light will flood your room, and you won't think twice about it. But for 99.9% of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun set, the world went completely, terrifyingly dark. You couldn't see your own hand in front of your face. And yet, our ancestors didn't just survive the night. They used it to unlock a literal cheat code for human consciousness, a state of mind that modern society completely erased. Here is the dark truth about what we lost when we conquered the night. For over 300,000 years, every single one of your ancestors spent roughly half their lives in near total darkness. No candles, no streetlights, just the black sky and whatever fire they could keep alive. Before fire, humans were prey, plain and simple. When the sun went down, you climbed a tree or hid in a cave, and you did not move. Moving at night meant becoming food. Our eyes are useless in the dark compared to apex predators. Leopards, hyenas, wolves, all of them could see just fine. But roughly 1 million years ago, inside places like the Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, humans tamed fire. And it changed the equation overnight, literally. A campfire creates a circle of safety roughly 30 feet in diameter. Inside that circle, you live. Outside that circle, you die. Even today, anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherers note that stepping away from the fire at night is an immediate death sentence. But fire did something else. It didn't just protect us. It gave us a psychological superpower. Extra time. Before fire, your useful day ended at sunset. That's maybe 12 hours in summer, and as few as 8 in winter. Fire suddenly hacked the system, adding 2 to 4 usable hours to every single day. And what we did with those hours built modern civilization. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiesner published a groundbreaking study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. She spent years embedded with the Juhoansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert, one of the last groups living the original human lifestyle. She analyzed their conversations, and the data was stunning. During the day, 80% of conversations were pure business. Economic negotiations, complaints, travel logistics, daytime talk was work. But at night, around the fire, the data flipped. 81% of conversations became stories, tales of distant lands, myths, jokes, and legends. The campfire was the world's original theater, the first classroom, the first church. It's where humans learned to think beyond the immediate present and imagine things that didn't exist yet. It's where we became us. But while the evening was for stories, the deep night held a much bigger secret. Ask anyone today how much sleep you need, and they'll say 8 continuous hours. But science and history just proved that this is a modern invention. You were never designed to sleep that way. In 2001, historian Roger E. Kirch dropped a bombshell paper that rocked sleep science. After 16 years of digging through historical records, he found over 500 references to a phenomenon completely forgotten by modern medicine. They called it first sleep and second sleep. Before the industrial age, people did not sleep in one continuous block. They went to bed shortly after sunset, slept for about 4 hours, then woke up. They stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night. Then they went back to sleep for another 4 hours until dawn. This wasn't insomnia. This was normal. This was how every human on the planet slept for thousands of years. What did they do during this midnight window? Everything. Medical texts from the 1500s advised couples that this was the best time for intimacy. People visited neighbors, wrote poetry, or interpreted their dreams while they were still fresh. Doctors literally advised students that the watch, as they called it, was the absolute best time to study and reflect, because the mind was perfectly calm and the world was still. So, why did we forget this? Because modern translators literally mistranslated ancient Greek and medieval Latin for centuries, rewriting history to fit our modern 8-hour obsession, until science caught up. In 1992, a psychiatrist named Thomas Wehr ran a wild experiment at the National Institute of Mental Health. He took a group of modern volunteers and completely stripped away artificial light. For 1 month, they were plunged into 14 hours of darkness every single night, exactly like our ancestors before fire extended the evening. Within weeks, without anyone telling them what to do, every single participant naturally reverted to the exact same ancient schedule. 4 hours of sleep, 2 hours of quiet wakefulness, and 4 more hours of sleep. Nobody suggested it. Their bodies just did it, as if some ancient program had been waiting inside them the whole time, buried under centuries of artificial light. But Ver didn't just watch them sleep. He tested their blood. During that midnight waking period, their brains were pumping out massive amounts of prolactin, the exact same hormone released during deep meditation and after intimacy. These volunteers weren't awake and stressed. They described feeling profoundly peaceful, highly creative, and deeply meditative. It wasn't a gap in sleep. It was an entirely distinct, forgotten state of human consciousness, one that most modern humans have never experienced. So, what killed it? Simple. Light. In the 1600s, cities began installing street lamps to fight crime. Paris was one of the first, followed by London. Then came cheaper candles, then gas lamps in the 1800s. Then, in 1879, Thomas Edison commercialized the electric light bulb. Within a single generation, the night as humans had known it for 300,000 years was completely erased. Fun fact, the word curfew comes from the French couvre-feu. It literally means, cover the fire. In medieval towns, a bell would ring at night, signaling everyone to extinguish their fires. Not because of safety, but because night was supposed to be dark. Night belonged to criminals and the supernatural. People feared it in a way that's almost impossible for us to understand today. And then we conquered it. We flooded it with light, and we thought that was progress. But here's what we lost. Today, modern humans are exposed to artificial light an average of 7 to 8 hours after sunset. This light, especially the blue light from screens, suppresses your body's production of melatonin. Your body doesn't know the difference between a light bulb and the sun. When light hits your retina at 11 p.m., your brain thinks it's noon. It delays melatonin release. It fragments your sleep. It disrupts the circadian rhythm that evolved over millions of years. Researchers have found that people who go camping for just 1 week with no artificial light at all have their melatonin cycles reset by nearly 2 hours. Their bodies start producing melatonin at sunset instead of hours after it. That's all it takes for 300,000 years of programming to reassert itself. We didn't just change when we sleep. We eliminated an entire phase of human consciousness. That quiet, reflective state between first and second sleep doesn't exist anymore for most people. Instead, we have insomnia, and we treat it like a disorder. But what if it's not a disorder at all? What if waking up at 2 a.m. and lying there in the dark isn't your body malfunctioning? What if it's your body remembering what it was built to do? For 300,000 years, your ancestors gathered around fires and told stories that built civilizations. They slept in 2 phases with a window of quiet reflection in between. They lived in darkness so complete that the Milky Way wasn't something you had to drive to a national park to see. It was just the sky. We traded a profound, meditative state of human consciousness for a plastic light switch. And the worst part? Most of us never even knew it was gone.